Hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG, and for today's video I'm here on draftsim.com and I'm going to be doing my first ever sealed pool here with M19. This of course is a sealed generator, so we're going to go ahead and click this button and we'll go ahead and open up a sealed pool here. I'll walk you through the build that I'm planning on making from it, and we'll see if we can maybe open up something nice and put it into a decent little deck here. So in white, there's not a lot that I'm seeing here. Most of our white appears to just be commons. We only opened up one uncommon. We do have some decent commons though. Angel of the Dawn isn't too bad. Starcrowned Stag is pretty decent as well. Moving into blue, Mistcaller's not great. The two mirror images though are pretty good. Skilled Animator, if we can get some artifacts. Aviation Pioneer is fine. Surge Mare is pretty decent as well. I'm liking some of the cards that we've opened from blue, and it looks like we've opened up a lot of them too. Horizon Scholar's not too bad either. Exclusion Mage is very good. Essence Scatter is even just fine. We have two of them. I don't know if the overall deck would want two of them. Probably depends on what our second color ends up being, but notably we do have the Essence Scatters. Totally Lost is also perfectly fine. In black, I'm seeing some decent cards. Vampire Sovereign's not too bad. A little uncommon flyer here. Doom Dissenter is fine. Sky March is fine as well. Isareth is a card that I think is good, but I'm not 100% sure until I actually get the chance to play with it. But it's a card that I definitely like. I think that I'd want to give this a try. And then Lich's Caress is also just fine, destroying target creature. So unconditional removal, quite good. In red, I'm seeing a rare here in Trashmaster, but it doesn't look like we have a ton of goblins to go with it. Some decent removal spells here, though. I'm seeing Lightning Strike, I'm seeing Electrify, and even Fiery Finish isn't the worst. 7 damage for 6 mana. Even though it can only hit creatures, sometimes you just gotta deal with your opponent's big green threats. Like, let's see if we opened it. We didn't open it. I was thinking of the 7 mana 7/7 Trampler that can block an additional creature each combat. So that's a 7/7, and so Fiery Finish is a nice way of dealing with that card. In green, we have like Elvish Rejuvenators, quite good. Rocks Oracles are fine. 2 Titanic Growths, I'm not thrilled about, but they're fine little combat tricks. In terms of artifacts here, we got the Scepter. Scepter's fine. It's like super slow. It might be fine in sealed, but I don't think I'd ever play it in draft. Transmogrifying Wand is a decent little removal spell here as well. Yeah, aside from that, I'm not really seeing anything that says that we should be one color over another. I like the removal spells that we have from red. I like the creatures we have from green. And I'm quite happy with the cards that we've opened up from blue as well. So I think for sure we're going to end up blue. White, again, like I said, we only opened up one uncommon, and the rest of our commons are just kind of meh. So we'll go ahead and add some of these cards here to our deck. I'm more than happy to play some Omen Speakers. Absolutely love that card. Mirror Image can go ahead and get in the deck as well. Surge Mare is a fine card. We'll go ahead and play the Aviation Pioneer as well. Makes 2 bodies for 1 mana, or for 3 mana. Animator can be fine if we end up adding some additional artifacts. I'm not going to add it to the deck right now, but that's something that we'll go ahead and take a look at later on. Exclusion Mage, easy addition to the deck. Return target instant or sorcery card from our graveyard to our hand. 5 mana for a 2/2 doesn't seem great, but if we end up needing an additional playable, I don't hate playing this card. Horizon Scholar is quite strong. Like I said, the first Essence Scatter is pretty reasonable to add to the deck. Anticipate seems fine. Sifts, I'm a little more weary about Sift. I don't mind Aether Tunnel if we're going to end up having some bigger creatures. And from what we saw in green, something like putting that on a Rocks Oracle seems quite strong, especially because of the lower toughness on the Rocks Oracle. It allows us to get in for additional damage. So I don't mind playing an additional Aether Tunnel here. Cancel seems fine. Just one little additional spell that we can have at instant speed here, and Totally Lost can get in the deck as well. And then we'll come back up here again. We'll go ahead and take a look at the Skilled Animator later and see if we want to add in additional artifacts for that. Ghost Form, Sift, an additional Essence Scatter. The sea serpents are fine. They're nice. They're nice in the late game, but I think the green creatures we have might just end up being better than the frilled sea serpents. So I'm not going to add them in quite yet. I'm going to take a look at what we have in green, and then I'll go ahead and add those back in. In terms of removal, though, we could just do a small little red splash as well. The only cards I really want to splash here would be something like Electrify and Lightning Strike. The Fiery Finish isn't quite as appealing to me anymore, due to the fact that we are most likely going to be playing green as well, so we'll have our own big creatures to deal with our opponent's big creatures. And so that means that we don't necessarily have to splash for this double red card, but I do like the idea of splashing for a Lightning Strike and Electrify, just good little removal spells. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add them into the deck right now. And then we'll go ahead and add in our green cards. So Rejuvenator is fine. The 2 Rocks Oracles can get in. I don't hate playing a Dreadmaw either. It's a little bit slow, but it's fine. Double Titanic Growth also seems okay. We have some creatures with Trample, I believe. We have at least the Dreadmaw with Trample, and we have some flyers too. I guess we only have 1 flyer, but these mirror images can also just turn into flyers or tramplers, whatever we need them to be. So maybe we only play 1 Titanic Growth. I'm also seeing here that we have these 2 Woodland Streams. Skyrider Patrol also can just go ahead and get in the deck. This is another way of giving our creatures flying, which is quite nice. The Wand seems like a decent little spell that can get in. These double Woodland Streams will most likely end up making the deck. Manolith is something we can think about as an additional artifact that we could then use the Skilled Animator on. And then it also just allows us to do our splash a little bit easier. I also don't hate playing the Apparatus and and some of these Gearsmiths if we're also going to have some blue creatures. I don't know if we'll play all of these though, because of the fact that they are 5 mana, but they do seem like decent little cards. We'll go ahead and add 2 to the deck. We'll add the Apparatus, we'll add the Manolith, and we have the Wand as well, so we can go ahead and add in Skilled Animator then. And I'm trying to think if we want Ghost Form now that we have these bigger creatures, and we also have the 5/5. Ghost Form probably will end up being cut, but I'm going to add it now just to go ahead and take a look at all of our options here together. Again, in black, we didn't really have anything too crazy. I liked some of the removal spells, I liked some of our filler creatures, and I really like Isareth, but it just doesn't look like this will be the specific build for her. But I think Talons is also fine. It's another way of giving Trample, which makes the Titanic Growth in our deck a little bit better. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add that in, and if this is going to be a 5/5, it's a decent little card to have Trample as well. So this is 29 cards here, so we're going to go ahead and have to make a few cuts. If we wanted to, we could just cut the removal spells, the Electrify and the Lightning Strike, and then try and focus more on just being the beatdown deck and trying to kill our opponents before needing to care about having Electrify and Lightning Strike. But I'm not huge on that plan. So what is our first cut here? I kind of like that the Pioneer creates an additional artifact for the Animator, so I'm not going to cut that. I'm not going to cut Rejuvenator because it will help us with our splash a little bit as well. Maybe like the first cut is probably some of these 5-drops. I'm looking at probably 1 Oracle or 1 Gearsmith Guardian to be cut first. I kind of think it's just the Gearsmith Guardian. I can't say no to drawing cards from the Rocks Oracle. And then aside from that, I think we can just end up getting rid of the Ghost Form. It is a little bit clunky in our deck. It's a nice way of finishing the game, but I think that we'll be able to finish the game nicely even without it. So Cancel's also kind of weird because we have some 3-drops that we'd like to just be playing on turn 3 as well, so we don't really have the chance to hold up the Cancel mana quite as often as we'd like, so maybe the Cancel ends up being more of a sideboard card for us. What's the next cut? We'll go ahead and cut the Ghost Form. Again, I'm not sure about this Aether Tunnel. It doesn't do a ton, but it does just help us get in some additional points of damage with some of our bigger creatures, which I do like as a way to just finish out the game. The apparatus it's not great. Like, it's fine. But I think we want it just so we have the proper number of artifacts to go along with where is he? To go along with the skilled animator. We don't really have. Maybe, like, I think it might just be another one of our 5 drops. We're not quite sure how fast this format's going to be yet, but we do want to make sure that our curve ends up looking reasonable. And so I think I am going to cut probably this. I think I am just going to cut the Aether Tunnel. It's not great. Well, I shouldn't say it's not great. It's a decent little card, but I think in our deck, maybe it'll end up being more of just a sideboard card, and I think we'll be able to just, all of our creatures are fairly big anyway, so we'll be able to just defeat our opponents without needing to have them go unblocked. What else am I looking at here? I like all of our non-creature spells. I think all of our non-creature spells are fine. The Manolith is kind of like iffy, but we do have some 6 drops that we want to ramp into, and so the Manolith isn't the worst for that. And again, we're not sure how fast the format's going to be, so I think at this point in time, I don't mind taking a turn off to cast a Manolith this early on into the format. Next cut. This is a pretty difficult cut. I'd be kind of interested, we actually have 2 cuts to make. I'd be interested to know down low in the comments what cut you guys are thinking about making here. It might just be the Surge Mare because of how blue mana intensive it is. I don't hate that. So in terms of 2 drops then, we'd have Omen Speakers, and we'd have Lightning Strike, Anticipate, Essence Scatter. Yeah, I kind of like cutting the Surge Mare now. Just do, like, it's a very good card. It's a very solid card, nice little filler card. But I think that with our current deck, I think I am going to cut the Surge Mare. Again, that's just kind of due to the 2 blue in the converted mana cost. And then we have one final cut to make before we look at putting together a mana base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's probably supposed to be a non-creature. 14 creatures seems fine. Might just end up being this Talons. Talons seems like fine for us. I kind of like putting it on a Rock's Oracle or putting it on a Gearsmith. But I guess if we put it on a Rock's Oracle, it's easy to get traded with. We can always just bring it back as well. It's a nice little mana sink later on in the game. I think I might have talked myself out of it, though. I think I am going to remove the Talons. It's probably either between the Talons or the Titanic Growth, and I kind of like just having an instant speed way of doing something. We have a few options at instant speed. We have the ability to have Lightning Strike, Anticipate, Totally Lost, Electrify, Essence Scatter, or Titanic Growth. So we have some options at instant speed. If we deem that the Titanic Growth is necessary, we can use that. Or maybe we can just hold up the mana, and if we deem it not necessary, we can do something like Anticipate instead. So I think I am going to cut the Talons of Wildwood here. Again, I'm not sure if that's right. Once we actually get a chance to use the cards, we'll figure out if that's accurate or not. You guys can let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Like I said, this is my first sealed build here of M19, and so I'd be interested to know what you guys are thinking in terms of how I put this deck together, or if there's just some other deck up here that you think I'm supposed to be playing instead, or if there's some card here that you think I'm supposed to be playing instead. So we're going to add in these woodland streams here, and in terms of basics, we have 15 more to add. So we have Manolith plus 2 mountains for our red splash, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 blue pips in total. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 green pips in total. So I'm looking at, we have 13 left, so 7 in favor of blue, 6 green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for green. And then if we have the Elvish Rejuvenator, that can help us find our way as well. And then these two Woodland Streams are just nice ways of having both colors as well. So I think this is the deck that I would play had this been the sealed pool that I opened up. I think it's not the best pool in the world, but it's also not the worst either. We're not playing any rares outside of the Transmorgifying Wand. But we have ways to get past it. Our Rocks Oracles unfortunately do trade with some of the Oxes, but our Electrify lines up very nicely with turning these creatures into 4 toughness creatures. The Electrify is very nice. Totally Lost is also quite good against turning them into tokens and then using Totally Lost on them. So I don't hate this deck. I think this deck is fine. It's probably not like a 3-0 deck or like a 4-0 deck, but probably somewhere along the lines of a 2-1, 3-1 kind of deck, depending on how many rounds your pre-releases are. But I think this deck seems fine. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So can we do sample hands here? I'm not sure if we can on Draft Sim. The website I usually use, it doesn't look like it. The website I usually use is magicdrafting.com. However, they don't have theirs up yet, and I wanted to make this video and get started onto some pre-release preparation beforehand. So since they didn't have their website up, I'm here on DraftSim instead. And I would have put together this nice little blue-green splashing red deck here with 4 ways of finding our red splash. We're looking at 2 mountains, a Manolith, and the Elvish Rejuvenator as ways to find our splash. We have a small little artifact sub-theme because of Skilled Animator, and then we've got some big green creatures like Rocks Oracle, Colossal Dreadmaw, and Horizon Scholar also just being a very fine card. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, like I said, be sure to let me know down below in the comments what deck would have you built out of the sealed pool that I was given here. Once again, I'll just scroll through it really quickly so you guys can go ahead and take a look here. And then aside from that, that'll be all for today's video. Again, hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to let me know down below in the comments below. And I will see you guys here tomorrow for yet another Magic the Gathering video.